You had said something somewhere where you said somebody had asked you, why you say all these wild, crazy things, and you said that's how I get these niggas' attention.
Yeah.
And it stopped me that day because I really feel like when I share my story of how I got into the game, I had to get people's attention, being very honest in a brutal way, not as brutal as you sometimes, but brutal. And that was the thing that kind of stuck with people. So that hit me in a way because I had never seen you say that.
In 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, I wouldn't dare use the word nigga on social media publicly. Because I was a youth advocate, working, partnering, in training the state's Texas Juvenile Justice Department. So I'm raised in a household where the word nigga is not used. That's a term that it's a term that you don't use. But hip hop and culture wise, it's a term that we embrace. So even as a man, I was conflicted with what I believe culturally and what I was trying to evolve away from boy to man, right? So it became my outlet, right, to get on here and talk like an ignorant motherfucker, suck my dick, because that's the lyric of the rapper, right? And what made me realize that is because I grew up when gangster rap first came. We both 1977 babies, right?
Yeah.
So when Eazy-E in the song "We Want Easy," there's a question there where they say, "Hey Eazy, why do you wear your pants like that?" "I wear my pants like this because it's easy access, baby." "Easy, why do you talk like this?" He says, "I talk like this to get my point across." Now think about that. Mm-hmm. It's no difference when grandmother or mom or mother and them come in and say, "Hey, when I leave here, I want you to wash the dishes. I want you to go cut the grass. I want you to do this." She say it nicely the first time, and we typically ignore that. But if she come in and say, "Get y'all mother, if I'm gonna whoop your goddamn ass," boy, you jump up and go to getting it then. So I understand that form of psychology in vernacular when presenting my presentation to the world. I started out before I came to the internet public speaking. My public speaking then went to motivational speaking. So by the time I got to the internet, I had already been through community college. I was about to drop out in college as a pre-law student at Texas Western University. So I had studied theater and arts, drama, professional speech, introduction to speech. So I just brought all that to the internet. So that's why it seems like the character is so conflicting, because it's all in one. I can't come tell the truth 100% of the time. It's just like the teacher can't just really teach to our kids. They have to put some form of music or arts or fun to learning. So I just brought that to the internet, but in a villain-fine way. I wanted to be a villain.
But why did you? So you intentionally want to be a villain?
Yeah, I wanted to be a villain because this what I know from studying our culture. We all start out loving all our favorite celebrities, only to end up hating them. I watched us. I'm a Michael Jackson baby.
I'm a Michael Jackson.
But we turned on Mike in the end.
Yeah.
When all those allegations came, we started calling Mike crazy, and when he was wearing the mask. We turned on Whitney in the end when she stayed too long with Bobby, and we felt like she should have left Bobby. So we turned on all of our greats. So I said, man, I get them to hate me, and eventually they'll love me in the end because they're going to realize who I am in real life. So I can come online and come play something that I'm not in real life, right?
All right, let's go ahead and break this down, man. I mean, to some people say Charleston White is probably dumb and he's an ignorant fool and so forth. But I think people that really listen to him and what this conversation that these two gentlemen was having, you could actually see how intelligent. And this is only one conversation. I've seen several conversations where Charleston White did make a lot of points, minus the shock value. But let me get you guys' opinion on this. Do you think when it comes to Black people that we have to do the shock value, we have to talk a certain type of way just to get their attention? And how do you guys feel about some of the other things that was said?
I know as men who may have played in a extracurricular activity, like say a sport or something, this, I guess, in your face type conversation is nothing new for us. maybe those who had maybe not the father, maybe the uncle. You might have an uncle in your life who had that in your face type conversation. And so you kind of understood it. Now, for young ladies, it may be come off as overly aggressive or harsh or demonstrative. And so they kind of maybe have a problem with it, especially if they don't have nobody in their family that talks like that or expresses themselves like that. So it could be a problem, I guess, maybe for them. But like I said, for young men who may have played it or was in activity or especially in a sport, especially football, this is nothing new. You heard this type of conversation, this in your face, demonstrative, aggressive type conversation. It's the old saying, chew the meat up and spit out the bone. I tell my son, I said, look, I know he's loud and aggressive, and it's the first time he had to deal with a coach like that. But there's a message. Just get the message. Filter out the bullshit and get the message. What is your coach trying to get you to do? And go from there. I
So
think
to
that's how Charleston White comes off to a lot of people.
So to answer the question that you asked, because I know my good friend Hank, he has like hearing problems, getting up in age and stuff. Yeah, sometimes I do think the shock factor is required to grasp people's attention. But to Hank's point, and it's not just about men and women, I think it's a cultural thing, because even growing up with a Caribbean family, it's hard love. Like you might get cursed out in love. You might get told, girl, you get fatty, like, yeah, breathe. Like, they'll ask you, like, they tell you fat and ask you if you're pregnant to tell you that you need to lose weight. You know what I mean? Like, other folks might be offended by that and be like, oh my God, oh my God, did she really say that to you? Yeah. Like, and you gotta have thick skin, But I love the fact that he brought out the fact that he's essentially reverse engineering the whole kind of thing. Like, and it was a great point he made, like, where like you end up going from, in this culture, you end up going from loving and celebrating your idols to hating them and picking them apart. So I think that was very smart. Do I think that all people require that abrasive kind of, obnoxious approach? No. But I do think it depends on your upbringing and your culture. I don't think it has anything to do with like gender or anything like that.
All right, go ahead, Jay. I know you came off the mic.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Hank. You want to respond?
Go ahead.
No, what I was going to say is, I don't think it's culturally. I had some white friends who have uncles who are like that, and they will talk aggressive. I don't think it's just our people, Black people. I don't think that's the case. Now, when you said it's just not gender based, okay, I can understand it. Like I said, you may have an uncle to talk like that, but most times, most men don't like to talk aggressive to a woman. In general, they just don't. They don't like to talk aggressive to their daughters. They do more so the sons or your nephews or somebody. The nieces and the daughters usually don't get that aggressive tone. We try to be more sensitive.
I can't tell.
To the young. Oh, okay, right on.
But I mean, in regards to sports, I definitely agree with Hank in terms of, like, if you're Marshawn Lynch, the running back that used to play for the Seahawks, he has a football camp, and everybody specifically sends their kids to his football camp because, he comes at them kind of like a tough uncle or father figure. He'd be yelling at them kids. You know what I mean? Like, get off your ass. You know what I mean? Like, tough. So it was this one white lady that sent, her little Opie there to the, he's used to being coddled and get out there, Opie, And then all of a sudden she's on the sideline watching and she sees this, buff Black dude, get off your ass, Opie. She gets mad. So she's talking to him on the sideline. And like everybody, all the mothers in the camp is explaining to her, this is why we sent our kids here. We didn't send our kids here to be like, good job, Opie. You'll get them next time. No, we specifically sent these collection of boys here because they need a different message and they need a different type of teaching You know, we want them in this sport, and they need a different type of message in a different way. So this is why we sent them here. So once she understood that, you know, she was kind of fine with it, but it was kind of shocking that he was so abrasive. But that's specifically why they sent him to Marshawn Lynch's football camp. I think, you know, when we hear the term preaching to the choir, you know, that means you're preaching to people that already understand your message, are ready to receive your message, and they're open to it. So essentially, it's a waste of a message because it's going to somebody who's already grasped that concept. So when you're going to, you know, the underprivileged neighborhoods and you're trying to convey this to these rough children who may come from broken homes, don't know where their dads are, don't know where their mothers are, etc., and they, you know, kind of grown, you can't go there with the same message. You can't even present yourself the same way you would do it to a different arena. And that's where that comes along. So I definitely understand. I mean, I think, you know, Charleston, I mean, we're human, we're flawed, you know what I'm saying? Everybody has their issues. I think he has the right idea, most definitely. And I think it's hilarious because you'll hear people saying, I can't believe he said that, or why did he say this? But then the music that you're listening to is saying this all the time, but being that it's presented in an artistic, you know, presentation, you're like, oh, that's my shit. All he's doing is saying the same thing that we're listening to. You know what I mean? So it's funny to see how people will receive it in this palatable one way, but then when somebody looks like them, you know, got a fitted cap, got a chain on, you know, talking crazy, they'll be offended by it.